Call of Duty Warzone. Call of Duty Warzone is a game's radar team obsession, and with good reason. Take part in epic battles of up to 150 players, collect loot, and complete contracts, all delivered with the sweet shooter satisfaction the Call of Duty series is known for. Activision keeps the game fresh with regular content drops, and the maps are dense and perfect for playing around with strategy. One of the most attractive things about the game is that it keeps loadouts, inventory, and finding the right loot simple, so you can focus on the important things like taking out the enemy and showing off your sniper skills to your friends. Destiny 2. New Light. Bungie's shooter now has a free-to-play flavor thanks to Destiny 2. New Light, a special version of the full game that focuses on content released before Destiny 2, Shadowkeep. Jump in and you'll find a specially made intro mission set in the Cosmodrome from the original Destiny, as well as every planet and hub in Destiny 2, including DLC areas. There's also campaigns, the PvP Crucible, Strikes, Gambit and in-game events. There's plenty to enjoy without spending a dime. But if you want to unlock later content, you'll need to stump up for Destiny 2, Beyond Light, at $40. Rocket League. Imagine if arcade racing and soccer had a baby, and you've got some idea of what makes Rocket League such a blast to play. It's fine minutes of chaos as you race to bash the ball into your opponent's goal in 1-on-1, or up to 4-on-4 matches. There are boosts to give you more power as you tackle your rivals, you can smash up enemy cars, and nothing quite compares to scoring a goal from midair. Other modes like Dropshot keep things spicy, and developer Psyonix is a big fan of tie-ins with pop culture like WWE, Back to the Future, and The Witcher, and special events to coincide with stuff like the Super Bowl. Fortnite. PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds might have the hype, but Fortnite might, whisper it, be the better game. Okay, it's derivative as all hell, adding on a PUBG aping Battle Royale mode to an already existing F2P co-op game. But in doing so it created a slicker, more polished take on the source material. The rules are basically the same. Hell, the game is basically the same. Parachute into an island with 99 other people and then scavenge gear, weapons and fight to be the last man standing. Don't let its bright, more cartoony presentation put you off either, as it's just as lethal and quick to end as the source material. Apex Legends. EA's free-to-play shooter came from nowhere to challenge Fortnite's dominance of the free-to-play battle royale genre in early February 2019, reaching over 50 million players by the end of its first month. In 2021, Apex Legends is home to a vibrant community, thanks to a responsive, squad-based shooter with amiable characters, and clearly defined skill classes. It's developed by Respawn Entertainment, of mech shooter Titanfall fame, who also made Star Wars Jedi: Fallen Order. Roblox. You might not be familiar with Roblox, but ask any kid and they'll give you all the latest on the game and game creation platform that sees around 20 million games a year added to its world. Some of the biggest games on the platform are Adopt Me, an MMO-style game where the main draw is adopting and caring for pets, the fantasy RPG school-themed Royale High, episodic horror game Piggy, and the sim-style Welcome to Bloxburg. Those who are done with playing can spend their time building their own games or items, and there are special events like an annual Easter egg hunt. Fallout Shelter. Fallout Shelter's wasteland meets The Sims shouldn't be so addictive, but somehow, running your own vault can eat up time like nobody's business. It starts with the basics. Building the facilities you need to keep people alive, power, food, water, etc. And then assigning settlers to run it all. Before long though, you're sending people out on missions, fighting off raiders, dressing up pets, and more. It's all free to play, but it can be quite hard to resist spending some money on lunchboxes, the in-game loot that gives you stat-boosting settlers, outfits, and more. Advertisement. Paladins. Think, free Overwatch, and you're basically there. It's a team-based objective-focused shooter full of strange and colorful characters. The classes are built around clear roles, with the frontline class made to control objectives and provide support. The damage class is obviously all about hurting enemies, while support is about offensive and defensive backup, and flank fight from a distance. Just working through the 30-plus characters currently included will give you plenty to do, especially with the card-based system used to tweak and adjust their loadouts. But, chances are, once you've done that you'll have a good grasp of the gameplay and want more. Match involves objectives, like taking zones and escorting payloads, so this is very much about characters working together. Warframe. Thanks to regular updates, Warframe has attracted a hardcore community, and the game's blend of gravity-defying melee attacks and boisterous sci-fi blasting are unlike anything else out there. Best of all, despite being free to play, even the most frugal Firefight fans can enjoy breakneck multiplayer without ever prying open their change purses. If you're feeling flush, you can buy some platinum on the Xbox store, but you don't spend all your pennies on sci-fi bling to enjoy Warframe. The pleasure of zipping about with its somersaulting stars is gratifying enough as is. Whether diving into quest-driven PvE action or dabbling in competitive deathmatches, Warframe always feels like its own unique entity. The maps are also brilliantly varied, including Pluto, the Moon, the dwarf planets of Ceres and Sedna. With so many different types of Warframe armor and weapons to pick from, plus numerous ways to slice and dice foes, there are hundreds of hours of entertainment here for the grand price of absolutely nothing. Gwent. If you've played The Witcher 3, then you know Gwent. If not, then it's a deceptively simple card game that uses skill and luck to place enemies, attacks, and effects on a board to defeat your opponent. It originally started as a little extra thing to do in the main game but got so popular that, well, here we are. Its additive draw comes from what initially seems like luck-based play. You place cards for enemies or abilities in rows that affect their impact. However, while so much seems to be left to chance, it's not long before you start to see how combinations and plays can pull the odds in your favor. It's currently in open beta, so expect it to change, and hopefully improve even more with time. Advertisement. Smite. You may already think you're a god at highly competitive multiplayer games, but what kind of god? Greek? Egyptian? Norse? These are but a few of the mythologies represented by the gigantic roster in Smite, a MOBA played from a behind-the-back third-person perspective that puts you at ground level for all that sweet minion slaying, kill-spreeing action. The primary mode is the classic 5v5 on a 3-lane map, but there are a wealth of additional modes and maps to try out. Like any MOBA, Smite comes with a cycling rotation of free-to-try heroes, and earning your favorites for keeps is simply a matter of some moderate time invested. Smite's cartoony visual style and often flashy, sometimes goofy animations are certainly appealing, and the sheer variety of its deity selections ensures that you'll find a god of your own to master and/or worship. If you do feel like plunking money down, there's even an option to buy every god, now and forever, that has been and ever will be added to the game. Neverwinter. This unfussy MMO/RPG hybrid ticks many essential boxes. Firstly, it's free, otherwise, it wouldn't be on this list. Secondly, it lets you ride a gigantic beetle as a mount, though admittedly, you have to pay for that privilege with Zen, Neverwinter's in-game currency that costs real money. If you're not overly precious about buying cosmetic upgrades, however, or proudly sitting on the back of a massive crab, this online fantasy is charming. Controls work well on a pad, and combat wisely focuses on arcadey slashing, rather than restrained, turn-based battles. The world won't amaze you with its sprawl. At times, Neverwinter feels a little boxy and linear, and the community isn't exactly that lively, but its fantasy fisticuffs are endearing nonetheless. Getting to the level 60 cap will also take ages, meaning you're getting a whole lot of bang for precisely $0. Airmech Arena. Airmech Arena ticks all the Transformers boxes by letting you play as a massive robot that can seamlessly contort itself into a tank. A good start. This weird little MOBA, tower defense title boasts admirably flexible robot warriors and some of the most darling support units you'll find on Xbox. Even the T-45 turrets are cute. With a reasonably beefy 15-level single-player offering and tactically sharp 3v3 online encounters, there's a lot of free fuel in Airmech's tanks. Any mech or unit that can affect gameplay can be unlocked by grinding for in-game kudos, with developer Carbon Games sensibly deciding cosmetic upgrades should be the only items that must be bought with the premium diamonds currency. It's a decision that means this likable MOBA never feels like a seedy, pay-to-win game, and all players have an even chance, regardless of how much they've spent. DC Universe Online. DC Universe Online spent much of its early days as a PS3 and PS4 exclusive. After Sony Online Entertainment became Daybreak Game Company, this highly acclaimed MMORPG made its way over to Xbox One, and it brought with it years of additional story content, quests, and more. You'll create your own superhero or villain, developing your background, costume, fighting style, mentor, and other options during the character creation process. Once you finish the tutorial, you're loosed into the world where you can explore Gotham City, Metropolis, and Central City, join the Justice League or the Society, and take on quests dished out by your favorite DC Universe characters. Combat is far more dynamic than your typical toolbar-laden MMO, too, often feeling more like an honest-to-God action game. If you're a fan of DC Comics and you're looking for a way to immerse yourself in its world, DC Universe Online is easily one of the best options out there. Hawken. Think all mech games are slow and cumbersome? Oh, and do you think they cost money? Nah, they don't. Hawken is a brutally fast, aggressive shooter, and free to play on Xbox One. Sure, it may not be quite as slick as Titanfall 2, but its pure focus on mech war makes it a very different proposition most of the time. Sure, there are free-to-play elements, which allow you to customize and enhance your towering metal exoskeleton, but it's entirely possible to be competitive without it. Hawken uses a free-to-not-grind system. You can choose to unlock all the game's content for a fee, or you can play for hours to unlock it for nothing. The only stuff you can't get through playing is cosmetic items. It's one of the better, livelier free games on Xbox, so well worth a giant robot punt advertisement. Dead or Alive 5. Dead or Alive 5 is a bummer conceptually speaking. When you look at the in-game store and realize it would take well over $1,000 to purchase a complete version of the game with every costume, character, and feature unlocked, it can feel like the absolute nadir of free-to-play game making. Play just the free version of the game, though, and you'll realize that Dead or Alive 5 doesn't need to be a complete game to actually be a good one. The simple but deep rock-paper-scissors structure of DOA's fights, where blocks counter strikes and throws counter blocks, creates a delicious base for the pyrotechnics layered on top of them. All of DOA's base characters are fun to swing around an arena on their own. No ridiculous and overpriced downloadable Christmas bikinis necessary. Killer Instinct. The revival of the classic fighting franchise Killer Instinct was a pleasant surprise when it was revealed by Microsoft prior to the Xbox One launch. The fact it also happens to be a rock-solid fighting game that manages to stand apart from its competition thanks to its unique handling of C-combos is nothing short of astounding. Throughout the years, Killer Instinct has continued to evolve and be refined, with balance tweaks and an influx of new fighters making it feel like a living experience where you can always find something worth checking out. And while the full experience will cost you some dough, you can still enjoy unlimited bouts with a selection of free fighters, who are rotated in and out on a regular basis.